What is up, you guys? So today I'm going to show you how I create my budgeting sheet from scratch. So you'll be able to see how I set it up, and hopefully you'll be able to do your own and make it to whatever fits your needs. I like to use the Google Sheets Excel spreadsheets just because I like that it's on an app and it's available on numerous devices, and I like to budget on both my phone and my iPad. Let's get this started. We are going to just name this sheet budgeting setup, and I'm just starting a brand new spreadsheet. And here we go. She's blank. So here in A1, I like to put the month, whatever month we are budgeting for. As for this month, we are just going to put August 2020. And then I will color code it. I usually just keep all the months the same color, so I usually make it this muted yellow color. Under that, we are going to do our income section. So for me, I like to keep it at the top just so that it's easy to find. It's always at the top. But of course, we're going to color code this green. And when I create the income section, I have two sections. So for this first section, it's basically an overview for me, and I do it in 3 columns and 4 rows. I am just adding the borders now for this section. In the first row, first column, I will put Tyrus's name, and it could be my name, whichever, but I'm just going to put Tyrus. Then below that row, I'm going to put my name, and then unexpected and total. This column, I do projected income, and it's just what we would expect for the month. Right now, I'm just kind of using random numbers and just showing you how I would fill that in. Then for this box, we put a formula, and this formula basically adds up all of these numbers in this column. So we'll do equal, and then the word sum, open parentheses, B3, which is where the numbers start, all the way to B5. So we'll put the colon, B5, close parentheses, and that will basically add up all the numbers within B3 and B5. So now I am creating the second section to the income section, and this is actually where we track the income as it comes in weekly. I still have 3 columns, but I do have a few more rows just because we do get paid weekly. If you get paid bi-weekly and you and your spouse or whoever you track income with is on the same pay week, then your box will probably look the same as the first section. Right here, we are going to start inputting dates of when we get paid. So let me just grab a calendar real quick. And we're in August, correct? So the first payday was actually August. Nope, that's 2019. The first payday, August 6th. So I'll just put 8/6, and then I'll put who's getting paid. So that was Tyrus, and then that is so janky. And then we'll do the following week. So that would be 8/13, 8/13, which is me, and then 8/20, which is Ty. Since we have everyone laid out, I always put unexpected right above total just because that blank box underneath my name, sometimes we have 5 paychecks for the month, and sometimes, we have the normal. For total is actually going to be a formula. Let's not be surprised by that word throughout this video. So I want to be able to calculate all of our income once the section is filled out. So we'll do E3 to E8. For this first section right here, what I do is I like to be able to tally up the incomes. So we want to tally up E3, which is Ty's first paycheck for August. Then we're going to do a comma and E5. So if we put the colon, it would have done E3 through E5, which includes E4, versus when you put a comma, it only includes E3 and E5. So that's a way to separate the different boxes that you do. So we have that, and then for me, we are going to put equals the sum, open parentheses, E4, E4, comma, E6, and then close. And then for unexpected, it's actually no formula. We're just going to put equals E9 or E8, E8. And that is all we're going to put. So whatever number I put here, it's going to pop up right there. I do create a section for our unexpected income, just because like in previous videos, like I said, we do DoorDash or we sell stuff on Facebook Marketplace, so I just like to kind of keep track. So I just create like a little open border. I just put lines on the bottom and the top, and then I like to give the color. Normally I'll do blue and just label it unexpected, and then we'll center her and make her bold. In this section on the left right here is where I would put the date that we received the unexpected income, and then here I just like to put the amount, whatever that amount is. And then in here we are going to include the sum of these boxes, and then that total, whatever that total is in G18, I want that here in E8, so I'll put equals G18. Underneath in this section right here, let me just create like a little box real quick. As income comes in according to the bills and the expenses, it kind of shows how much is needed. Here I just put net, and we're gonna make it bold and there, and then I do highlight it like in a noticeable color. I'll complete this part like when we have the bills part filled out, because it will make more sense. After setting up the income, I have where I would list the bills. I'm just gonna create a simple box real quick and keep her small, because the bills are split into two accounts, which means we use our credit card to pay bills as well as our bank account. That's why it's split into two. For me, it's just a way to keep it organized better, so I know where the bills are coming out of. In this first section right here, I will put the date that the bill is due, and then in this next section we would put the bill, and then in here we would put the projected amount. In this section it will be the actual amount, so when the bill gets taken out. And then this last section will be the difference, if there is one, like if projected bill amounts are different from actual bill amounts. So we're gonna bold it, put it in the middle, give it a color, and then in the bottom row I'll have a total which will add up everything. In here obviously you'll put dates on the first. Usually rent is due. That amount is always projected at what it always is, but in the case that it changes, obviously you would put the actual. And then I actually do a formula here. If you have like a long list of bills, this is where it could get time consuming, but I am going to show you guys a little trick that I showed in my last video. I do this formula, so I do literally the two boxes before this one. So C12 comma minus D12, and then close parentheses. Let's say rent this month was $1,500. Then I would know that we paid $55 over the amount, which would put us in a negative because it's, you know, it's not what we expected. And let's say rent was cheaper, you know, this month. Then I would know we're in a positive. That is the purpose of the difference column. We want to take this right corner, bottom right corner blue circle, and literally drag her down. So we're going to tap on it and autofill. Literally, I remember doing it once and never ever being able to figure out how to do it again. So I'm just going to do fillers for this so you can kind of see the numbers change and that they are coinciding with the correct boxes. And then in the total section, it's obviously the same, and I do it for everyone. So equals the sum or for each column. So C12 to C14. Close parentheses, and then we'll press enter. And then let's see if it'll work here. It does! Let's see. Yay! Our life just got so much easier. Like, I'm so grateful for that comment in last week's video. If you're like me and you have different bills on different accounts, then you will probably need multiple bills if you like to keep it organized. Me personally, I would put the name of my accounts. So this one would probably be my bank account. This one would be the credit card that it comes out of. And it's the same thing, date, bill, projected, actual, and difference. And then you can fill it in the same way with the formulas. That is what I do there. So we have our income and we have our bill. Now we are going to go into variable expenses. Variable expenses are usually expenses that could change or switch up, such as groceries, eating out, gasoline, or anything like that. I'm just making this column a little wider so that we can see the words. These numbers can fluctuate, but you project the highest amount that you would spend. At least for us, that's what we do. This one can be pretty long depending on what variables you budget for. So we just have expenses, projected, actual, and difference. Same concept. And then here is where you would list your expenses. We have a total. So for groceries, I do projected by the month, what we project per week, and then I put the total for the month here. So for groceries, we usually project $100 per week, and so that's normally for 100, but in weeks where there are 5 weeks in the month, we do project 500. And then eating out is $25 a week, so 100. I want to do the sum of these ones. There we go. And then the sum of B23, comma, minus C23, close parentheses. Personally for me, because I also, because I keep track of budgeting and whatnot, I like to color each expense. So this is normally the color that I have for them. Green is groceries, eating out is red, and gas is blue, and home is purple. Under here, I usually have these little boxes for each week. This just helps me budget weekly because we get paid weekly. I do have a projected, actual, and difference for this section as well. And then in here, I will usually put the week. This would be the first week of August after the first paycheck. This is week 1, and we'll do 8, 6, 2, 8, 12. It's usually the Wednesday prior to the next paycheck that we cut off for the week. And then all of this is still the same. Copy. And then here, obviously, we break it down weekly. So groceries is 100, eating out is 25, gas is 40, and then home, I just break it down into 4, so 250. So then we'll do the total. So we'll put in that formula equals and then obviously this formula B30, comma, minus C30. So what happens here, this is where it might get a little tricky, but let me put in the other weeks so that it makes sense. So this is just assuming that there are 4 weeks. this month. Don't mind the dates, obviously those will change, but everything else is pretty much the same. What happens here, it's going to get a little tricky. So for this section right here, I do put in a formula. It's not a new formula, it's a formula that we have used, but it's just a little bit longer. So we're going to put equals the sum, and we literally want to calculate the groceries for each week for the grocery section. So we'll do C30, comma, C37, comma, H30, and then H37. Close parentheses, enter. So right now that number is 0, but say the first week we spent 80 bucks on groceries. That number is automatically put into the main variable expenses section, and it's also subtracted already. Say the following week we spent 50. Oops, that's not 50. So say we spent 50. That is automatically calculated to 130 and subtracted. So this was definitely time consuming, but now that we know the tips and tricks, we won't have to sit here and do all of that one by one, because we should be able to drag this one, autofill, C31, C38, yep. Hallelujah. I do have a section between right here. Basically, we use our credit card. And so for here, we have all the bills calculated, but it doesn't necessarily include the variable expenses. I'll have that total here, and then as it's being used, it's projected actual difference. And then with here, I wanted to know what the amount for the month was for just bills, not including her foot zonologies, not including her speech therapies. I'm talking about Elena, not including variable expenses, like literally how much are bills for the month. I found myself really confused, I guess, prior to doing this, not really getting a clear picture. I'll show you guys how that looks right now in my actual budget sheet. So this is what that is. Amex total is this projected number for bills, including her appointments and speech therapy, and our variable expenses. This is what that number is. That's that number right here. And obviously actuals line up, Q36, P48, and then the different. And then this is literally just bills. So this doesn't include the money that we transfer over to American Express in order to cover the bills and the expenses. It doesn't include her appointments and speech therapies. And then the last part that I have for my budgeting is I have this section down here where I basically have an expense tracker for both my credit card and our bank credit card. Oh, I just literally put the names and that's it. You can be more specific if you need. So in the first column, we do date, transaction, amount, and balance. For here, let's say our balance is starting off at 1,000. So I'll usually just put the first of the month and balance, and we're at 1,000. Let's say on the second, we went and got groceries. I'll usually just put the name of the store that we got groceries at. Then I'll put the amount that we spent. And then we have a formula. So we'll usually do equals, usually, most like always. That's like the only formulas I really know. So if you have ways that could improve my Excel game, definitely leave it down below in the comments and I would greatly appreciate it. We are going to take the starting balance of the month, which is D44, comma, minus, and then the transaction. So C45, and that will update our balance. I then just drag this little guy down because obviously this list will be pretty long. It coincides with each line. And spent 25, then it automatically does the math. I also like to label in colors because like I said, it just gives me an idea, like we're eating out too much. And then as those expenses come out, I also update these grids up here. That is basically how I do my budgeting setup, and I feel like this is pretty general and pretty basic for everyone to kind of grasp the idea of budgeting on an Excel sheet. There's obviously going to be a lot of different things pertaining to each person that will fit your needs, but I hope overall that this video was helpful to kind of get you started in budgeting in an Excel sheet. Once you have created these budget, you can copy everything and paste it for the following month, and all the formulas do transfer to their new sections that they're in. That is basically how you create, or how I create, my budgeting setup on this Excel spreadsheet. I hope it was helpful for you guys. I hope it was clear, and I hope you guys are able to understand how I create these budgeting sheets. If you have any questions, you can leave them down below and I will answer them as quick as I can. If you have any suggestions on how I can improve my budgeting here on these Excel spreadsheets, please leave them down below. I'm always down to make my life easier in any kind of way. If you haven't already, please subscribe and stay tuned for more content like these. I know I haven't been posting much bullet journaling content, and honestly it is because I am creating the bullet journal to sell for the month of September, so that's why I haven't really been posting bullet journal content, but I have been keeping up, or doing my best with keeping up with the budgeting content. But anyways, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to keep up with me elsewhere, I am on Instagram at Modern Twines, and that's where you can find bullet journal content, and hopefully that will be starting up this coming week. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next one.